All right, next let's go ahead and talk about some general navigation inside of Fourlane CX. So first and foremost, when you click on the logo over here, which you can make your own logo, when you click on this logo, it takes you to the home screen. If you come over here, you do have things like your lists, which you are used to seeing. If you see an arrow drop down, you can click again to see a sublist item here. Under company, we have some things, customers, vendors, and it all looks very similar to what you're used to. Under reports, we do have the report center. We also have the ability to go in and print transactions, which we'll go through that in a little bit about the find. We have the Fourlane dashboard. So this is where you can come in and see things. We have another video on how to utilize this as a consultant or internally, but this is where you get to things like the transaction information, entity information, etc. We also have the search over here, and so we have the simplified search and the advanced search, which are things that should look and feel similar to QuickBooks, and we have another video on that. We have the help menu where we do see sync errors. When you click into sync errors, when you see an error on here, that means that it has not been fixed yet. When you double click on it, it will open up to that exact transaction to figure out what is going on with this particular error. Then we also have our About page, which is of course About CX. On this page, you can see things like what needs to be modified inside of QuickBooks, and the reason for this is because it is not part of the QuickBooks API, so we do not have access to those fields. Okay, so potentially we have just read access, not read-write access, meaning we can't create in CX. You have to go create inside of QuickBooks. Of course, we have our what's new, and then we have a report and issue where you can submit any feedback. Feedback is always welcome here, and this goes directly into a JIRA board where we decide and prioritize what things need to be fixed. Okay, and then of course we do have the My Account and the settings and the log out section. Now once we are inside of a list as an example, so let's go ahead into our chart of accounts. One thing here that you can see, you do have drop downs for things like active only, inactive. We do have negative, positive balance. You have a plus symbol for new. When you have one selected, you can have the edit symbol here as well. And then, of course, if you have the permissions, then we see delete here. On the right side, or generally somewhere in the top bar, you're going to see little check mark boxes like this. This is our column chooser. You'll see this on transactions as well, and it lets you decide the order and which columns you want to see. So as an example, if I wanted to add parent account, you can see it adds the parent account over here. And then if I wanted to add full name, it also adds the full name, right? So it's a parent account with the actual account name. And then let's say I wanted to, drag and drop, I can move parent account up and it will show up there. So column chooser allows you to select which columns you want to see or not see, and then also allows you to move about columns. When you are in here, you can also move about columns, which is really great. I have a filter button on the top of any column, so if I wanted to only look for certain types of accounts, so let's say we were looking at fixed assets, I can start typing fixed. I can start typing IX. I don't have to type what is in the beginning, which is something that is a little bit different and better for us. You can just select a couple of accounts and hit apply, and then it will filter those out. And then, of course, to come in and undo the filter, you just hit clear. If you go in and click on columns, it will sort by those columns, just like you're used to in a lot of different softwares. If this gets out of order, particularly for the chart of accounts, when you refresh the screen, it's going to put it back in normal order, which we're used to seeing in QuickBooks, which is basically balance sheet on down to profit and loss order. Okay. So you'll see a similar thing when you're looking at the Customer Center. Here we have the column chooser. You can choose which columns you want to see and reorder the columns. When you click on the Transactions tab, Column Chooser, you have that as well. We do have this button throughout that you'll see occasionally too, which is Reset Grid Layout to the original default. So that's basically like if you go in and move stuff all around and filter down and sort down, and you just get it all into like this different area, and you're like, wait a second, I need to go back. Because it will remember by user in screens like this when you refresh, just not the chart of accounts screen. But if you want to reset, and then it'll go back to its original order without all the changes that you made by doing that. Now, notice on things like transactions or on the Customers tab, when I click on a particular customer, we've got this Show All Transactions, Balance Details, etc. You can filter by, and then also you can do the date ranges in here as well. And you have the same thing over here. Then we also have some enter text to search over here. So if I'm searching for Bliss, right, it's showing up the customers with invoices with Blissville in them, and then I have the ability to see those. Okay. Now in my sample file, excuse me, I do have duplicated transactions because I imported them twice, just trying to get a whole bunch of data into my sample file that I demo with. So it's not actually duplicating here. If you go look in the QuickBooks file, things are actually duplicated. In the transaction type of screens, so like the enter bills, enter vendor credits, create estimates, sales orders, any of these types of screens, again, you're going to see something very similar. You will have the column chooser here where you can put things and move them around in what order you have them in. Something that's a little different, of course, inside of here is we have the quantity on hand and quantity available as columns instead of having to hover to see those kinds of things. We do have a More button up top where we have the opportunity to do the kind of connected things. So create invoices, create purchase orders, create copies, undo changes. And then you will see over here a little drop-down area. This little drop-down area is meant to be kind of like a quick find. So here you're able to see sales order search, like do a quick sales order search. So this is looking at all recent sales orders. I can filter them down. So it's similar to like that transaction center, but this is something that you see kind of on the right side sometimes inside of QuickBooks, some information around other sales orders. All right, and then I'm not going to go into some of the report stuff here because that is a whole other video, but navigationally everything should feel very similar to the experience that you have in QuickBooks. It should not be a big overhaul to teach somebody to come over into the CX product. So that's navigation inside of Fourlane CX.